In this video, I will show you how I knitted this simple cable vest top. I will also provide a chart for my patrons, which would make life a bit easier when knitting. I think having a little rolled edge on the neckline is one of the easiest ways to achieve a neat edge without needing to add a rib trim, and this is what I chose to do for this vest. This design can be adjusted to fit multiple sizes. All you need to do is to cast on more or less stitches and knit more or less rows before starting shaping the neckline. For my vest, I cast on 124 stitches. I knitted 20 rows of 1x1 rib, and now I will use a transfer carriage to transfer all the stitches from ribber bed to main bed. I will remove all the large weights and will leave in the cast on comb and just attach 2 claw weights on the edges. This should be enough weight as we don't need as much weight when we're knitting on main bed only, but I will decide later if I need to add or remove the weight, depending on how the machine will feel. I knitted 37 rows of plain stockinette, and now I will start creating the cables. As I mentioned at the beginning, if, for example, you would want to create a larger top for yourself or smaller, you can knit more or less rows until this point. I will do a 3x3 cable with the 6 stitches in the very center, and I will knit 2 rows. We will be knitting 2 rows in between every transfer or decrease. Using my 3-prong tool, I will grab the same stitches and transfer them to the left and to the right. Now I have 2 needles out of action or without a stitch, and I do not want to leave these needles out of action, and I will transfer and form 2 stitches this way. So I will grab the purl bar from the adjacent stitches to form 2 new stitches like so. Transfer again. This time I can just place these needles back in action or in working position, and after knitting 2 rows, 2 eyelets will be formed. We'll continue forming eyelets until I have 6 stitches in between the 2 eyelets. Then I will also create the first 2x2 cable. I will be forming cables every 10 rows as I find that is the easiest way to remember. After forming the eyelets, I will also transfer 1 stitch each side of the 4 I used to form the cable, and I'm going to leave these out of action this time, and this way I will create 2 ladders. That will make the cables more pronounced. Continue transferring to form eyelets, moving 1 stitch further with every transfer until I have knitted 10 more rows, and then I am ready to form the next 2x2 cable. You will notice that now we have enough stitches to form 2 more cables, so 2 new cables. So every time we knit 10 more rows, we will have 5 stitches in between the last eyelet we formed and the ladder, and we are able to create 2 more cables. Things will feel a bit tight at this point, but don't worry, if your yarn is strong enough, you should have no problems. I'm using one end of Coast from Knoll, which is a 50-50 cotton wool blend, and 3 ends of a very fine recycled polyester, and I knitted this in tension 8. After knitting 2 more rows, again like we did before, transfer to create ladders. I hope you will be able to follow along if you would like to try this, but once you've done a couple of repeats, you will see that it's actually quite simple. All you have to do is to transfer to form eyelets every 2 rows and form cables every 10 rows, and with every cable create 2 more. So I have to knit 2 more rows before I'm ready to start shaping my neckline, and before that I will form 2 new stitches to close off the ladders in the very middle like so. Will not forget to create the eyelets like I did before as well. I knitted 2 more rows and now I am ready to start shaping the neckline. First thing I have to do is to transfer 8 stitches in the center from main bed to river bed. These 8 stitches will now become purl on the right side of the fabric, and they will kind of roll or curl, which will give me that neat edge that I want to achieve. We'll also transfer 4 more stitches on the edge from main bed to river bed, just like I did in the center, so both edges are rolled. As always, when shaping a neckline, we will do that one side at a time. So I will put half of my needles in holding position and also put my carriage in holding position. It is time to be decreasing. In total, I will transfer 7 stitches because I like to see the fashioning. I think it adds a beautiful detail to knitwear and it just looks really nice, but you can choose to transfer differently if you like. I will decrease 1 stitch by transferring 3 stitches at once on my main bed. Then the 4 stitches we transferred from main bed to river bed as well. So this way we decreased 1 stitch. Here you can see how I start transferring on one side, but I will stop and then you will see all the decreases on the other side. Decreases are the same on both sides, so it doesn't matter which side you do first. I have now finished on the left side and I will decrease on the right side. My carriage is not in holding position anymore. Again, transfer 3 stitches on main bed all at once to decrease 1, followed by the 4 on river bed, and repeat the same on the other side. I've already formed the eyelet here and there is nothing else to do besides knitting 2 rows. We'll do another decrease just like before and then form the eyelets. And since it's been 10 rows since forming the cables, I will do that again. As long as there is a ladder each side of the 4 stitches I use for the cable, I will continue forming them. I'm saying that because when we are transferring to decrease, in some rows we will transfer and close off the ladder, if that makes sense. From now on we will repeat the same, decrease each side, transferring 7 stitches, form an eyelet every 2 rows, and cables every 10 rows. And don't forget the ladders as well after forming a new cable. We'll leave again the video without voicing over at real speed in case you would like to knit along. I really hope that it's easy for you to follow. As you can see, if I transfer now, I will have 3 stitches on one needle, and I decided I won't continue with the eyelets from now on. Your vest might look different. If you have more stitches, you might need to continue with the eyelets, or you might have finished already if you have less stitches. It will depend. From now on, I will just continue decreasing every 2 rows and forming cables every 10 rows. This will be the last cable I will create. All I need to do is just keep decreasing, and I will decrease until I have 9 stitches left on the ribbon bed. last decrease using a 3-prong tool on my main bed, and I have 2 stitches onto one needle in the middle. For the next decrease, I will use a 2-prong tool to transfer stitches on main bed. For the last decrease, I will use a 1-prong tool. Decreasing this way will give you a really nice detail on the right side of the fabric. Now all I have to do is just transfer that 1 stitch from main bed to river bed. This will be my shoulder strap, and you can choose to do it however you like. I will knit it quite long on both front and back panel, and I will tie them on my shoulders when I'm wearing the top. In total, I knitted 100 rows for the strap up to this point, and now I will finish off the edge and I will decrease to achieve an angled edge. I will decrease every 2 rows like so until I have 1 stitch left. That looks much better than a straight edge in my opinion. Cut the yarn when finished and just pull the loop through to secure the last stitch. This is the front panel straight off the machine. It will sit much better when it's washed, but it looks quite nice already. Here I am knitting my back panel, and for the back panel I will not do a cable. I will transfer like I did for the front panel, 8 stitches in the middle from main bed to river bed and 4 each side. I will decrease exactly the same way I did for the front panel, every 2 rows, transferring 3 stitches on main bed and 4 stitches on river bed. This is the finished vest, and it looks much better now that it's washed, which I did after linking the sides. All I did was I put it in the washing machine on a quick cold wash with a bit of washing powder and fabric conditioner. Like I mentioned in the beginning of the video, if you'd like to download a chart for the cables, you will find that on my Patreon page and you will be able to download it, and it will make the process a bit quicker. I really hope you enjoyed this video. As always, if you try this, don't forget to tag me on Instagram or Facebook, and also don't forget to subscribe. It really helps the channel, and I will see you next time. Bye bye.